folks, and welcome to another edition of The Legacy. Each week, our plan is to combine the old school with the new, with one thing in mind, and that is to win. And in order to win, you got to have a captain. And this week, I am privileged to bring back Captain Brig Owens, old number 23. Brig, how you doing, man?
Doing great, Doc.
It's amazing that you went from being under center to playing a position you'd never really played. They had Bob Hayes on their team. I remember that. And you were with Tom Landry. And I think one of the things of why you're such a great leader, you've also been around some of the best ever.
Well, first of all, Bob Hayes was my roommate. We were roommates as rookies.
Yeah.
And so I had never played defense before, never really tackled anyone before. And after we had a scrimmage against the Rams, which I think I went like 7 or 9 or something like that as a quarterback. Then he put me out there on the as a wide receiver. I caught 3 passes, one for touchdown. And after practice, Tom Landry said, "Rick, good practice." He said, "I think we're going to try you out at defensive back tomorrow morning." And I said, "I never tackled anybody before." And he said, "Well, you're a great athlete. We need to find a place for you here." So that next morning, we went out there and we were having the nutcracker drill. The nutcracker drill where you had to fire tackle.
All in barbaric drills that have all been outlawed.
Yeah. And so Mike Nolan was my defensive back coach. And I'm looking back there to see who I'm going to take. And Nolan kept just saying, "Brig, just focus on fundamentals. Get him on the numbers and pick him up and take his power away. And keep the fundamentals in mind." I'm looking, and so I see I got Amos Marsh. Amos Marsh had just come to us from...
He sounds like a fullback. Yeah.
Marsh's thighs were big as my body. And we were training in Thousand Oaks at the time.
Yeah.
So my turn came up, and Dick blew the whistle, and I got off the mark and hit Amos, and I heard him say, "Mm." I picked him up and took him down, and Dick Nolan said, great job, Brig, great job." Oh my God. And what I thought was sweat coming down was blood.
Blood, yeah.
And
been there, done that.
I ended up with 11 stitches over my eye. So I went back to my room and I'm packing my bag because I'm going to catch the bus and go back.
You out of there. I'm out of here.
I'm not going to be, fodder for anybody. And so Bob Hayes walks in the room and he says, "Rumor, what are you doing?" You know how you talk. "Rumor, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm going home. I'm going to catch the bus. It's going to take me an hour to get home." Jerry Rome was our next door neighbor. He came.
Yeah, the great Jerry Rome. Yeah, quarterback guru.
Yeah, we beat him twice, Doc.
I love it.
Then next thing I know, Jethro Pugh walked in the room. "Where you going, Brig?" I said, "I'm going home." "You can't go home." He said, "You've been our spokesman here. You can't go home." And so Jethro says, "I tell you, Brig, stay till the afternoon, after the afternoon practice, and we'll take you to the bus stop." So I spent that afternoon practice trying to give somebody a black eye before I left. And Coach Landry mistaked that for being physical. After we got back to Texas from Thousand Oaks, California, and it was really kind of a shock. We being California guys, we're not used to being told where you can't eat, where you can't live, and so forth.
Yeah, no, we really, I had no idea. A lot of this was new to me, absolutely, crossing that Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, and so got there, and there were places we couldn't eat and couldn't live and so forth, and there was this sandwich place that guys were stopping by getting sandwiches on their way to practice. So I stopped by there, and I said, "No Negroes, dogs are Mexicans." And I said, "Holy cow." So I went back, went to practice and told the guys, don't go to that place. If we all can't go, no one should go. And I got called upstairs by Tex Schramm. You remember Tex Schramm?
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a racist. With us. And he said, "Young man, you're not in California." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You can't be starting boycotts." I said, "Boycotts?" what? He said, well, you're telling guys not to use that restaurant. And I said, what restaurant? He said, he named the restaurant. I said, that's not a restaurant. I said, that's a greasy spoon.
That's right.
And so I left that office, went downstairs, and by the time we got dressed for practice, I had been reduced from being a potential starter because they had just did a story on me about this quarterback. Looked like he could be a potential starter with Mel Renfro. Mm-hmm. And so I went to practice, and they reduced me to second team. Next thing you know, I'm on special teams, and then they traded me to Washington. And I said, thank you. And one of the best things that ever happened to me was coming to Washington.
The Legacy is brought to you by Janet King. Let Janet King get your business back to business. Visit to schedule a disinfecting service today.
Don't let the comfort fool you. Don't let the attention to detail lead you to believe that a Honda is a delicate machine. You'd be wrong. Underneath every surface that carries a Honda badge, there has always been the capacity to amaze. From the core of everything we have ever built, all the way to the top of where you want to go. Rise to the challenge with the rugged performance of the Honda Pilot, Passport, and Ridgeline.
Free healthcare, hundreds to more than $1,000 per month in disability compensation, and tens of thousands for college tuition. These are just some of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs benefits that may be available to veterans. VA is focused on customer service like never before. Choose VA and see why veterans' trust in VA reached an all-time high. Claim the benefits you've earned at choose.va.gov.
I'm stoked! Let's do this! Whoa! This is amazing! I know, right? Yeah! These new extreme scratch-offs! They're insane! Wait, what? Dude, $100 million in instant cash! Tons of $100,000 top prizes! Awesome! Let me see those! Oh, man! Hold on, I'll go get them!
Take it to the extreme. Play new Extreme Scratch-Offs from the Maryland Lottery and play safely and responsibly.
DC has a home for the greatest hits of all time.
That would be Michael Jackson for me.
DC's greatest hits.
Madonna.
Billy Idol.
Live here.
Cyndi Lauper.
Bon Jovi.
94.7.
Blondie.
The Eagles.
The Drive.
Talk to us about George Allen, because as far as I'm concerned, he's the biggest reason this rivalry is still alive today. What was it like playing for George?
George was an innovator, and he was far ahead of his time. And, you know, he's the one who really brought special teams to light. And he hired a special teams coach, and he said there's offense, defense, or George Allen said defense, offense,
Yeah, defense.
special teams. And the special teams were required to make at least 3 big plays during the game and put us in field position. As defense, we were asked at least to score once or twice per game. And that's
once or twice
per game.
Per game.
And the special teams, we had our special days in practice where everything was focusing on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so George, and he had all these prizes the guys could earn as special teamers. But we were getting ready to play, I think, the New York Giants. It was a Monday night game. And George says, you know, we're going to do something that's never been done before. We're probably going to get fined for it, but we'll pay the fine. We're going to introduce the special teams tonight, Monday Night Football, because we want the rest of the nation to see our special teams as well as our offensive and defensive players. So right now, Tommy McVeigh is on his way up to give Roselle, Don Meredith and Howard Cosell, the lineup.
Yeah.
We're going to go out there and they're going to score first chance they get the ball, the special teams. We get the kickoff, we're going to score. If we have to go down we were going to get them behind the 20, start the game off. And let's go. So if you had gotten in front of that door when we went out, you've gotten run over by special teams. But that was George Allen. He never missed an opportunity to motivate you. One of the greatest motivators I've ever seen. And we knew every little detail about our opponent. We're getting ready to play the Cowboys. I don't know if you've heard this story, but George Allen comes in. He's got John Reed with him. John Reed was the martial arts expert.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And George said, we're getting ready to play those Cowboys. I don't like those Cowboys. And he said, I worked all off season to get in shape. I even took martial arts from John Reed here in case I have to fight Tom Landry on the 50-yard line, and I'm going to beat his tail. And even if he has his foot on my neck, I'm going to get up and I'm going to beat his tail. So John Reed comes up and he's got these boards for George to kick his bust, one with his hand, one with his foot. But George couldn't brush the one with his fist. And then they got it and they realized that they were holding the grain the wrong way. So they turned it up. And George hit it and it splintered his hand. And Bubba was crawling from the back room to get to George, and there's blood all over the place. And George said, okay, break up the meetings. So we're in a defensive meeting. And so it took a long time for George to come in, and Mo Patio said, George, Torky, start the film. So if we don't, we're going to be here all damn night. And George won't let us go home. George said, well, he'll be here in a little bit. So a little bit, George walks in, he's got this bandage on his hand, and he's got the blood seeping through the bandage. And George said, well, we got to have a good practice today. We're playing those darn Cowboys, and anybody got any questions before we put the film on? And Mo raises his hand. He said, yeah, Mo, what do you need? What do you want? And Mo said, Coach, that Tom Landry is a tough son of a gun, isn't he?
I bet that went over like a lead balloon. The Legacy is presented by your local Nissan dealers.
We all know things are different. Keeping you safe is not. At Innova, we ensure the safety of everyone who comes to us with safe locations, safe supplies, safe cleaning, and safe practices. You're safe at Innova. Get the facts at innova.org/safety.
It's 2020. Let's make a splash. Play the DC Lottery's Roaring Cash.
Our new house is amazing. Great street, huge yard.
There is a bit of an issue with our neighbor's fencing. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save even more.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Peter.
Touche.
What? Bring down.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
DC has a home for the greatest hits of all time.
That would be Michael Jackson for me.
DC's greatest hits.
Madonna.
Billy Idol. Live here.
Cyndi Lauper.
Bon Jovi.
94.7.
Blondie.
The Eagles.
The Drive.
We all know things are different. Keeping you safe is not. At Innova, we ensure the safety of everyone who comes to us with safe locations, safe supplies, safe cleaning, and safe practices. You're safe at Innova. Get the facts at innova.org/safety.
I thank the Dallas Cowboys for one of the dumbest personnel moves they've ever made. And we benefited here in the nation's capital. We're still benefited from it. I thank you so much for your guidance and your leadership. You are a friend. Love you. Give Patty a hug. And we'll do this again down the road. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Doc. Keep doing your great work. I'm very proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Well, I am a reflection of you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's edition of The Legacy. Thanks to Stevie. Thanks to Kyle. Our staff is fantastic, and I'll be working on trying to get them a raise for next season. We'll see you next week, folks.